Traditionally, a tug tows a major new model airplane for its roll-out debut. But the self-powered DC-10 rolled out with engines operating quieter than the bagpiping Scottish band preceding it. The flight crew then proved out the DC-10's ground performance on the runways at Long Beach Airport. Taxi runs included a low-speed run at 60 knots. 80-knot runs involving all engines reversed with moderate braking. A high-speed run at 100 knots. And a run at 100 knots with full flaps down landing configuration. With taxi runs completed satisfactorily and with all systems go, the long-awaited event of the first flight was moved up to the 29th of August, 1970, 2.5 weeks ahead of schedule. At 9 a.m., DC-10 project pilot Cliff Stout and crew boarded Ship 1 and initiated pre-flight checks. At 10 o'clock sharp, DC-10 sped down runway 12 for takeoff. Liftoff occurred at 150 knots. During the initial climb out at 180 knots, the crew checked out the flight controls and evaluated the aircraft's handling characteristics, while the pilot kept up radio chatter with flight controller via the Blue Ridge station. At 10,000 feet above Catalina Island, the aircraft was leveled off and entered a holding pattern, maintaining a speed of 200 knots. The landing gear flap and slat actuations were observed and evaluated. Then the pilot headed the aircraft towards Edwards Air Force Base, 75 air miles north of Long Beach Airport. Climbing to 20,000 feet, the DC-10 leveled off and kept its cruising speed at 300 knots as planned. Flight control evaluation was conducted, and engine operating characteristics were observed. Subsequently, the DC-10 was climbed to 30,000 feet. The DC-10 was descended to 15,000 feet, where approach to stall checks were accomplished. Minimum speed during these checks was 120% of the predicted stall speed. The aircraft exhibited excellent control throughout these tests. Nearing Edwards Air Force Base, the DC-10 made a low-altitude flyby just prior to the landing. The first flight was airborne 3 hours, 25 minutes and consumed 52,000 pounds of fuel. 23 additional flight tests were in order for DC-10 Ship 1 during September, operating in and out of Edwards Air Force Base. The flights consisted of maneuvering stability, stall characteristics, trailing cone optimization, and static longitudinal stability. Airspeed system calibration, lateral control during rolls, flutter vane system evaluation, in-flight center engine start, landing gear freefall, flap buffet evaluation, fuel transfer check, and engine suction feed, air-driven generator deployment, and anti-skid braking. On September 26, DC-10 Ship 1 returned to Long Beach Airport after logging over 52 hours of flight time. On October 2nd, it flew to Yuma and a reception by 8,000 people at the McDonnell Douglas facility at Yuma Airport. There it began phase 2 of its flight development. Additional weeks of strenuous testing. On the 24th of October, DC-10 number 3 made its first flight, the second DC-10 to enter the flight development program. On this first flight, DC-10 number 3 flew to Yuma and landed, then returned to Long Beach Airport the same day. But the DC-10 has already won the hearts of the crew since its memorable first flight. They have judged it the most airworthy, responsive, efficient, and economical DC airplane yet.
Well, hello, good evening and welcome. They don't make videos like that anymore, so I couldn't resist playing the promotional video of the DC-10, and I'll give the credits in a minute for where that came from. So welcome, hello, good evening, and those of you who haven't been for a while, welcome. We have a new photographer on board for tonight's quiz, Lucy, so you'll see some of those photos coming up. Abby is in London. Hopefully, Abby, you'll be able to say hello. We won't have any of the cut-offs that we had last week. Yeah, so the DC-10 a Marmite aircraft maybe to some, but I still think it was a great aircraft. So it is tonight's iconic aircraft. So as we enter this quiz number 11, 14 weeks of lockdown, 11 weeks of aviation quiz. We're thinking of going to the Guinness Book of Records for the most live weekly aviation quizzes. We think we could win that Guinness Book of Records live. So lots of clues in that video for halfway through when you have the iconic aircraft round. So memory test for those of you who either weren't listening or maybe switched off halfway through talking about Yorkshire tea. So welcome. We are into quiz number 11, and for those of you who haven't done the new format, I think this is the third week that we've had the new format, and we have 20 variety questions first, then we have an iconic aircraft round with as many questions as we can milk out of the iconic aircraft. Then we have the answers to rounds. I got this round 1 last week. No, we have the answers at the end of round 1. Then we have the iconic aircraft round. Then we have round 3 and round 2 and 3 answers. I'll get it right eventually. So, credits. Lucy, thank you very much for allowing your photos to be used in various forms tonight and edited in various things. A new starring role. And if James is on tonight, I don't know if James is on tonight, he's got a break from... And Lucy is allowed to claim a point for those that are her photos on the basis that we assume that she knows what her photos are. And thank you to the Jeffrey Thomas Historic Collection for that DC-10 promotional film that we used tonight. We think we're within the copyright because it's not for commercial purposes or it's educational purposes, so I hope you all enjoyed it. So we'll get on with the quiz. If there's no further ado, pens, pencils, crayons, whatever we've got tonight, felt tip pens, chisels and bits of stone, whatever you have, we'll move on with the quiz. So round 1, question 1. Nice easy one to lull you into a full sense of security. What new aircraft type arrived at Heathrow for its new airline customer on the 28th of June 2020? And you get a bonus if you know the airline, so most people should get 2 points for this, I would imagine. What new aircraft type arrived at Heathrow for its new airline customer on 28th of June 2020? Thank you, Josh. Well, those of you who know that quizzes 1 and 2 were banned by YouTube because of an alleged copyright infringement know that we're a bit sensitive to it.
They didn't like busted.
Yeah, it was busted, we think. So, yes, and by the way, there's lots of bad news circulating in the industry at the moment, but this is a bad news free zone tonight. So for the next 45 minutes or so, bad news free, good news about aviation and what's happened in aviation, and hopefully getting the balance right between the 21st century, the 20th century, not too many of the 19th century, luckily. So we'll move on. Round 1, question 1, that was. Round 1, question 2, can you guess the airline? lulling you in a bit more into a full sense of security. One of Lucy's fabulous photographs, although I hope you don't mind, Lucy, I had to clip off the copyright. But I think all the photos tonight, bar one, are Lucy's photos. So round one, question 2. Hope you're all thinking away there about the iconic aircraft, what questions there could be. Do you get a bonus to the registration? Yes, Mark, particularly for the last 2 letters. And no bonus for the airport, because I think some of you will be able to guess which airport.
Surely the max, that's a small picture. I actually not even it.
Welcome to all of you. I think 16 viewers, so we've been holding fairly firm at 16. I know it's not a world record, but as long as you enjoy it, we'll carry on doing it. Guess the aircraft. It's the one in the foreground, George. Although you can probably guess the one in the background. Round one, question 3. What new UK colour scheme caused a lot of controversy last week? I won't give away too many clues, but I'm sure you all know which one it was. You could get one of Abby's unofficial bonus points if you know the unofficial name of the aircraft.
What my bonus point if you say it? We've discussed this.
Oh. Can everyone hear Abby now? This time, have we solved the sound issues? Can you hear Abby?
Just quiet, so.
Without getting feedback, because last time we tried, we had feedback. So that's round one, question 3. Round one, question 4. Can you name this aircraft type? Can you name this aircraft type? Well, Josh, you did say it's a bit, or someone said it was a bit too difficult last week, so it may have gone too far the other way now and made it too easy. But who knows, it might just be a very bit of lulling a false sense of security. George says Abby's very quiet. You never thought you'd say that.
Hey.
Sound check for Abby.
1 2 1 2. Read me back. I think it's just you that can hear me.
No one else can hear Abby. You can see Abby at least. Abby can wave. She can do sign language. Round one, question 5. The future of which Swedish fighter jet was cast into doubt this week? So some quite topical questions. I thought we'd go a bit topical. Which Swedish fighter jet was cast? Its future was cast into doubt this week. Good, thank you, Brandon. You can hear better than last week, which was not at all. And then she disappeared completely about 3/4 of the way through because she just dropped out in one of those fantastic YouTube moments.
I wasn't allowed here anymore.
Abby's modelling, by the way, her birthday, one of her birthday presents. So you could hold it up at half time and you can guess the aircraft. That's a bit too easy, isn't it? I think we should do guess the tube train, actually. Round one, question 6. We're motoring along here. Name the airline livery. See, these are lulling you in.
Yeah, it's just going to get harder from here on out.
Bonus aircraft type. Not sure whose favourite aircraft this is. What happened to all the hot weather, by the way? Maybe it's hot in Spain, Brother Peter. Headboard cockpit widths, but it's not very warm here today. But I think the heat wave's going to come back, at least to the south. Sorry, who's in Scotland? Who's in rainy Scotland? Can't remember earlier. Someone's in Scotland tonight. We don't have. Do we have anyone from the Middle East tonight? Is Joseph on as well in Italy? Not sure. We've been getting quite a lot of views of the. In fact, last week was 2 quizzes in for one because it broke up and it was in 2 parts. So we've been getting quite a lot of views offline of the recorded versions. So feel free to use those. They're all free, fun. Just use them as much as you want to. Boiling and humid. Ah.
Love it.
Round one, question 7. We have to have round 1 question 7 for those of you who've done the last few know that this is always a Top Gun question, and believe me, there are, don't know if anyone saw the post this week, I think there were 79 inaccuracies that they've worked out in the Top Gun movie, and they've listed them all. So there's plenty of scope for this to continue as a Top Gun question. So which famous Top Gun actor went on to play Brains in Thunderbirds in 2004, the film Thunderbirds? Of course, you know Thunderbirds isn't real, although I like to think it is sometimes. But which famous Top Gun actor? You don't need to know his real name. You can maybe know his screen name. 44. Brandon, that's pretty hot. I prefer Abu Dhabi. Actually, it's a good name.
There's a joke there. So, at the end.
Abby knows a joke about Abu Dhabi. Or can you do it now?
Not at the end.
Why? Because you think we'll be switched off?
Huh?
Because you think we'll be switched off? Josh, you've not seen Thunderbirds?
He
Ever?
hasn't seen many films.
Wow. All this lockdown time.
I know, Josh. I know.
Round 1, question 8. Which helicopter was known as the workhorse of the Vietnam War? We have to have a helicopter 1 or 2. Oh, you've seen Thunderbirds, Lucy. Good.
I'm actually going to buy one. Have
I don't know. Is that a rhetorical question, Abby?
I don't know.
Must be lockdown's getting to her. She's asking herself questions now. What's the meaning of life? So round 1, question 8. The helicopter that was known as the workhorse of the Vietnam War. Round 1, question 9. On our Met forecast, this is again a rich vein of questions. What does the term SS mean? Brandon, who else? I think Avianca757, you hadn't seen Top Gun at the start of this quiz session. Have you watched it yet? Brandon, how can you not have seen Top Gun? No, you don't get a bonus point for that. Josh, I'm afraid that's a different quiz. That's a general knowledge quiz. So round 1, question 10. Don't know if Joseph's on tonight, Slider. Which US single-seat, single-engine, all-weather stealth multi-role fighters are flown by Air Force, Navy and Marine Corps pilots? With an extra full stop. So which single-seat, single-engine fighter is flown by all 3 pilots, all 3 service pilots in the US? Lucy. Oh yes, sorry, I've just seen it. Sorry, I was reading the question. Lucy's spoiled your joke. Abby was going to do that at the end, Lucy.
It's fine, the stand-up show's gone now. Look for another job.
Round 1, question 11. We have to have the ATC question. So this fabulous tower, second tallest in the UK, I think we just discovered. Yeah, I don't know if we have any sound effects on here, Lucy, for the Bardum Tish type. We need some YouTube sound effects.
Come on, thanks.
Round of applause. Can you name the tower? Can you name the controllers on duty in the visual control room in this photograph? You get a bonus point for that. Oh, the answer's there. Thank you. Oh, it is quiz number 11. You have to... And I didn't even see that because I've seen these so many times. So yes, wrong answers only, people. Round 1, question 12. Can you name this aircraft type? You got a point. Yes, well, this is a new type of quiz now where you get the answers first and you have to guess the question. We have to have a bit of fun. At least you're not paying for it. Imagine if you were paying for this and you had mistakes. Round 1, question 12. Name the aircraft type. We won't do guess the airline. Round 1, question 13. Which legendary Soviet aircraft company was named after designers Mikoyan and Gurevich? get it right, put my teeth in. The Soviet aircraft company that was named after these two designers. That's a good way of boosting the scores though, isn't it? Actually we could do making a much shorter quiz and just have the questions and answers at the same time. Round 1, question 14. IATA airport code time. SFO, what's it short for? And the bonus, of course, is those who know the ICAO code. So we're motoring through, ready for the iconic aircraft round that I'm sure you've all been researching as you go along, thinking what questions could there possibly be about that iconic aircraft. How long was the video? Question number 1. Round 1, question 15. Can you name this airline that's been expertly edited by me but is a much more expert photo by Lucy? We won't do a guess the aircraft type.
Get the one for the dash. That's the other.
Which?
Well, you can guess the type, but you can't guess the variant.
Name the guess the touchdown speed, or something like that.
The variant.
Guess the number of passengers on board. Round 1, question 16. The MQ-1. So we have to have a bit of a range of questions here. So the MQ-1, for those of you who don't know, is a drone, unmanned aerial vehicle, made by General Atomics. It was used in Afghanistan and other conflicts. What is it known best by? What name? Probably mostly heard on the news, I would think, unless you've been involved with one. The MQ-1 by General Atomics. Do you get a bonus for the airport? What, the previous one? No. No, we're not having many bonus points tonight because we're trying to I'm trying to get to a perfect. So your perfect score tonight should be 50. I think maths isn't always my strong point, but if I've got the official bonus points and questions right, there'll be 50 points in total. 23 in round 1, and then so on. Round 1, question 17. Nice easy one. Name the aircraft type. There are, while making use of these fabulous photographs from Lucy. Encouraging Lucy to take some more so we can keep filling the questions, the quizzes going forwards. Don't think we've got many military people on tonight because there aren't as many military people on, military questions on tonight. Question 18, round 1. So in 2015 there was a National Geographic documentary narrated by Harrison Ford that was filmed in 18 countries across all 7 continents. If you haven't seen it, it's worth seeing. What was it called? What is it called? I won't ask you for bonus points to name the 18 countries. Ah, Brandon, you're off somewhere then. Back. Maybe. If you're allowed. Because of course there's about 18 seconds lag between what I see when I see the comments, so what I'm seeing is maybe not what you're seeing yet. So it's a bit mind-bending. Certainly for me anyway. Round 1, question 19. You like a good historic question, so in 1960, the British Aircraft Corporation, which 4 companies were merged into making the British Aircraft Corporation, that of course went on to then produce lots of different aircraft. Abby, why are you not drinking?
Because I don't always drink. I haven't had a stressful day. I'm just feeling anyway.
Barcelona, ah. Oh, would that have been on an A380 before they retired them then? Not sure.
When did they hear that?
And then round one, question 20. Just checking again, I haven't put the answers here. Can you name the aircraft type? The one in the foreground, not the one in the background. Yeah, the soundtrack's great, Avianca 757, amongst, as you say, many other things. So that's the end of the first round then. So 23 points up for grabs in round one. Does anyone want any of the questions again? Has anyone arrived late? Anyone want to see the picture of the tower and try and guess again where the tower was?
You should do a bonus question coming last time.
Yes.
Make it tricky.
Quite an upgrade, yes. In fact, we haven't done an iconic aircraft round on that aircraft or its opposite number. So, if you're ready, put your main pens down, as another quiz person says, and pick up your marking pens or whatever you're going to do, and we'll go through the answers to round one. Well, 19 answers, you've had one answer already, so. First one, of course, was the 787-10. I believe that number 2 is arriving Thursday, is it? So 787-10, British Airways, of course. So it's nice to see a new airline customer getting it, a brand new aircraft type. Round one, question 2, Qatar Airways, of course. And Mark is going to tell us the whole registration, I think. Round one, question 3 was the A330 Voyager UK scheme, which I think was called Vespina. Caused a lot of controversy because most people assumed that it cost £900,000 to paint an aircraft, as opposed to the fact that it went in for a, was it a 10-year check, and was painted at the same time. So I think it's pretty good, actually. I think it's a pretty good scheme, so I'll hold my hand up. I think it's good and we should be proud of it. Round one, question 4 is the 747-8. Great photograph taken, actually, I think this week in Seattle. I think it was a freighter. Was it a freighter? I think it was a freighter doing touch and goes. Oh, question 1. Sorry, Mark. Yeah, you get a bonus point for that. Do we give Mark a bonus point for knowing the question? I thought you meant the registration for question 2, or the Qatar one. Not sure. We'll see how the scores get towards the end. Oh yes, Josh. Yeah, that controversy as well. Round question 5, the future of the Saab Gripen was cast into doubt with the Swedish government deciding whether they're going to fund the development of the aircraft going forward. UPS, thank you, Andy. Round 1, question 6 was Jet 2, of course. 757. There's some quite easy points in round 1. I'm not sure it could be the same in round 2 or 3 though. Top Gun actor was, although you all thought he died in Top Gun, wasn't really for real. So he did actually go on and play Brains in Thunderbirds in 2004. He was Goose, or Anthony Edwards, I think is the real name in real life. Of course, Top Gun is a real life film anyway, apart from the 79 areas where it's been analysed as being wrong. Round 1, question 8 is the Huey or the Bell UH-1 Iroquois. Star of many films like Apocalypse Now, etc. Round 1, question 9, Sandstorm. Regular feature in the UK, particularly around Brighton Beach, Bournemouth Beach. But Sandstorm. Which is great in ER. Brother Peter, great in ER.
The ER's the programs now.
Oh, is it? Round 1, question 10 is the F-35 Lightning II. Is that flown by all 3 service pilots? Round 1, question 11 was a really tough one. I'm sure you didn't get this one. Was Manchester. for the bonus point, how many panes of glass are there in the visual control room of the tower? Yeah, I saw that from Space Brandon. Was it the Falcon guy took a photograph of sandstorms in the Middle East? Right, well, question 12, 767-300, of course. Great aircraft. Could be a feature of an iconic aircraft round in the future. Right, well, question 13 was a MiG, of course. Right, well, question 14, San Francisco or KSFO for the ICAO code. Round 15 was Saudia. 16, the Predator. 17, the Airbus A350. Not sure if you can tell what version this is from here. 1000? Is it 1000? Is it a Cathay? It's a Cathay one, I think. I don't know. Round one, question 18. Living in the Age of Aeroplanes. If you haven't seen it, do see it. It's got some fabulous footage, but also some very interesting statistics about aviation. Should be mandatory watching for lots of people, although it's a shame it's American. No disrespect to any Americans, but it'd be nice if it was also made in the UK. Round one, question 19 was Vickers, Bristol, English Electric and Hunting. I'm sure they're all names that you've hopefully heard of. They all merged in to form the British Aircraft Corporation. And it's round question 20 is the ATR 42, I think. Or is it 72? I think it's, well, I'll go for 42 or 72. 42, 72 is fine. Lucy, it's your photo. You can probably correct me if it's a 42 or a 72, but I think because I didn't make it very clear, then you can have a point for each. So that's the end of round one then. Okay, thank you. So, round two, iconic aircraft, the round that you've been waiting for then, so based around the McDonnell Douglas DC-10. So, 7 questions. It's a bit random this round in terms of how many questions I managed to eke out. I did think about doing a few more, but so 7 questions. It's a single documentary, Josh. It's on Apple TV. If you Google it, I think it must be on YouTube or somewhere. It's about 5 years old. So, first question, in what year did the original DC-10 fly? Where was the aircraft factory? Who was the launch customer? Sounds like a Spanish Inquisition. How many main variants of the DC-10 were designed? So I'm looking for not small variants. So to me, a freighter is a variant. It is part of a main variant. So we'll have some discussion, I'm sure, about the answers to this one. But how many main variants of the DC-10 were designed? Oh, thank you, Lucy. Yes, my perspective. How many aircraft were built by the time production finished in 1989? So this is according to someone like Wikipedia. How many different aircraft, how many different UK company operators were there? So I'm not looking for variations on the same company. How many different UK company operators were there? According to Wikipedia. And thank you, Lucy, for clarifying that. So yeah, but we'll accept, because I didn't actually ask specifically and I even gave you, I think, a wrong answer, then we'll accept a point for 72 or 42. How many different UK company operators were there of the DC-10 and how many are left on display in the world? Bit of a sad statistic this, but how many are left on display in the world? Yeah, I know if you can have Apple TV, it's on there, but I don't know where else it might be. So I'll leave these up for a little while, just so you can have a quick pause and think and look up on Google if you don't know. Only joking. Some of the answers were in the initial video, actually. So if we stick with our theme, next week would be a military iconic aircraft, but we'll see what sort of votes we get. I like the DC-10 anyway. I think a lot of people didn't think it was very successful, but it created a number of airlines and a number of successful routes between locations, competed with the TriStar, really, I suppose its main competitor, and then started to compete with the Airbus A330. No, long haul was 330, I think it was when the MD-11 variant. So that's not a variant of the DC-10, by the way, just according to my classification. C-130 Hercules, Mark. Oh, okay, sorry. I'll get on the right wavelength as in next week's iconic, yeah? Although I'll have to work out what questions you don't know about the Hercules. So anyone need more time for these 7 questions on the DC-10? I'll take that as a no. You can always come back if you need any clarified. So we'll go through into round 3 then. See if round 3 is as easy as round 1. Can you name this aircraft type? Military question, aircraft type. What is it? I can't hear any music tonight. It's just that quiet track. Round 3, question 2. What is this red arrows maneuver called? It'd be nice to see a full red arrows display, but this is from the 2019 display season, I believe. What is this red arrows maneuver called? I'm not sure which one it is, bottom left. This is a bit maybe catching up. Maybe the maneuver is not yet complete. So that's round 3, question 2. Round 3, question 3. So actually in the news this week, the inventor and businessman who actually held 120 patents, including the 8-track cartridge, those of you who remember an 8-track cartridge, he went on to produce the world's first mass-produced business jet. Who is he? Bit spooky this, because I wrote the question and then it was in the news, honestly. I caused the news, of course, all over the place. Mostly for the right reasons, hopefully. It's round 3, question 3. Round 3, question 4. We have to have a helicopter or 2. What is this aircraft type? Ah, Josh, yes, not. Is there any music playing? Has it gone off? Oh, it's that quiet piano track. Might have to edit that one out, it's a bit too quiet. Round 3, question 5. So for the last couple of quizzes, I think we've had a name the person. Bit of fascinating, so I'll just read this, although I'm sure you could read it yourself. Upon completion, he sought to test the aircraft at the Great Salt Plains in Oklahoma. His first attempt at flight ended up in a ground loop, which required $100 to repair. After repairs, he attempted flight 13 more times, each time ending in some sort of failure. Finally, on his 13th attempt, he got a glimpse of hope as his aircraft bounced up into the air for a short time before crashing into the trees as he attempted to turn it. After his crash, he exclaimed in frustration, "I'm going to fly this thing, and then I'm going to set it afire and never have nothing to do with aeroplanes." Who's the person? Kind of sounds like my first solo. Thank you, Josh. Do you have more than one solo? Just asking. Yeah. Can you have a first solo? Surely that is your solo. Just asking, Josh. Can you have more than one solo? Question of the evening. No, I don't know what the answer is, but.
It's okay.
Round 3, question 6. Which Santa Ana, California airport is named after a famous Western film star? Two first solos. Oh, that could be a new quiz round in its own right, Josh. So that's round 3, question 6. Racing through the quiz tonight, you'll be out in time for another Mackie D's, whoever that was earlier, was it a delivery or a takeaway? Okay, oh, okay. I stand corrected. Round 3, question 7. What is this aircraft type? I'm sure you know, really. Round 3, question 8. So you should know this, really. Everyone, I think, should know this. Who is the current UK Chief of the Air Staff? It was in the news this week, last week. Fairly big event. Bonus points for knowing whose daughter ordered a delivery at McDonald's earlier. That's worthy of a number of bonus points, if you think. So we'll have a bit of an inquisition at the end, Josh. Ah, Mark, is that two solos, really? Can you have more than... So we can go on all night. But surely the first solo is your own. You can't have another one. Yes. Round 3, question 9. To the nearest 10. Sorry, this was written before any news stories. To the nearest 10, how many Airbus aircraft do EasyJet have? And this is according to Wikipedia, my main source, which I know is always not accurate, but it's not entirely a fully fact-checked quiz, as those of you who've done these quizzes before know, so we do have some discussions sometimes. Ah, yes. I'm sure I'm going to lose this discussion about whether you can have more than one solo. A first solo, sorry. Round 3, question 10. Name the aircraft type. Bit of judicious editing here. I strode into the photograph and painted it out. The relevant bit out, I would have given it away. I've never actually been on board one. I'd love to know what it's like sitting in that lower position at the front. Great, make a great first class cabin in a civil version. Round 3, question 11. To the nearest 10, how many Eurofighter Typhoon aircraft are in RAF service? I think it's pretty generous being 10, bearing in mind how much they are. Same with Airbuses, so... Round 3, question 12. Oh, yes. Name the aircraft type. Guess the aircraft registration for a bonus point? No, probably won't do that. that's round 3, question 12. Nearly, yes, well over halfway through the round 3. Galloping towards the day of judgment, knowing how many you got out of 50. Don't think there are any bonus points in this round, sorry it's a bit mean, but I wanted to try and keep the score to a total of 50. Round 3, question 13. Oh, is that the first typo? Do I get a bonus point for the first typo? What famous astronomer is Pisa Airport named after? Pisa. What famous astronomer is Pisa Airport named after? Pisa Airport would be a good name for an airport. Be that circular one that somebody tried to sell as a new type of airport, the circular airport. Round 3, question 14. Can you name the airline livery? Sorry, actually not particularly good bit of editing here of your photograph, Lucy. Avianca 757, was that to go and fly in the front of one? For reasons for wanting to go back to North Korea. So round 3, question 14, that is. Round 3, question 15. Again, it's been in the news actually, but I did write this before it was in the news. I'm starting to worry about this. What aircraft was there a James Bond film about somebody who actually wrote the news? I'm not suggesting I'm anything like that person. What aircraft was Prince Charles flying when he was involved in a landing accident that allegedly caused him to give up flying? Ah. So that is 2 first solos then. Or 2 aerobatic first solos. So the aircraft that Prince Charles was flying, I think was in the news this week. Round 3, question 16. The airport that's dubbed Kent International, that boasts one of the widest runways in Europe. I bet they say the same in Australia about the UK, Josh. Round 3, question 17. As of April 2020, how many different aircraft manufacturers types do Logan Air have? As of April 2020, how many different aircraft manufacturers types do Logan Air have? You can dock points off for typos. So I'm not looking for variants of types, I'm looking for major types. They're rather massive. What's that? I don't know. What's that emoji? That's an elbow cough, okay. Round 3, question 18. What's the airline? Again, been in the news for maybe the wrong reasons, but been in the news. Decided to make it a bit more civil because I think we've lost a number of our military people, so mostly civil. And I think people like the photographic rounds, so hopefully a good blend. All feedback welcome. If you think we've got the balance wrong, let us know. Elbow sneeze, thank you. I'll add that to the list of emojis I've never used, but I need to. Round 3, question 19. So a Jersey-based consultant vowed to get an aircraft flying as the first British electric passenger aircraft. Do you know which aircraft it is? Which aircraft type? It's a coincidence, Josh, yes. It's all part of the same story. Does anyone follow the RAF Luton Twitter feed? had quite a lot today because I think people have not taken the humour that well of RAF Luton's stories. Oh, you like living on the edge, Avianca 757 then? Yes, there is tyre fluff. And the last question of round 3. Where is the world's largest military air show? Where is the world's largest military air show? Oh, I think we should be a bit protective about Rotherham tonight. Rotherham's coming for a bashing here. RAF Luton, yes. Yes, that account, Brandon, yes. Round 3, question 20, that is. So anyone need any of the questions again? If not, we'll go into round 2 answers and round 3 answers. And go on, post some scores now for how many you've got so far, just so we can see who makes up the most. So you post your round 1 scores out of 23 then. Yes, I know. Lots of hilariously unaware replies. Yes, the B-52 one. I think that was today. So, come on, be honest. No one's looking out. Well, not many people actually. No, we've got a good number. How many out of 23 did you get for round 1? Hopefully, at least 1. 17. Oh, pretty good, Jed. Mark, 17, very good. Is that better than last week? 17. Oh, I think there's something going on here. I think the button's stuck. Too many 17s. 7. Everyone got 17. Oh, Brandon got 18. Broke the 13. Oh, bit of making up to do in round 2 and 3 then. Bearing in mind you're not really from an aviation background, I suppose that's a pretty good score actually. Does that mean it's gone too easy? Swung one from one direction to the other? Right, so we'll move on with round 2 answers then. 19, Lucy, wow. Is that the highest score so far? Oh, 21, Connor and Julian. 2 brains, better than 1. Yeah, Lucy's allowed to automatically get her own photos. Maybe that's unfair, Lucy. You got the 17 massive, yeah. Right, so these are the answers to Avianca 757-18, that's good. Right, round 2 then. So the original DC-10 flew in 1970, I think it was mentioned at least once in the opening video, as was the aircraft factory, Long Beach, California. The launch customer, American Airlines. There were 4 main variants of the DC-10. The Dash 10, the Dash 30, the Dash 40 and the KC-10. There was a Dash 15 which was a hot and high version, but I think that's a mini variant of the Dash 10. So 4 variants. Anyone coming up with any other variants, it's a game, it's for fun. So anyway, but there are 4 according to me. 446 aircraft built by the time production finished in 1989. That's before it went on to the MD-11, I believe. There were 9 different UK company operators. Anyone? We could award bonus points, but that would screw up my total score then. But there was Air Tours, British Airways, the British Caledonian linked organisations, which included Calair and Caledonian Airways. Excalibur Airways operated 1, JMC operated 2, Laker Airways operated 11, and Monarch operated 1. My Travel operated 4, and Novair operated 3, so there were 9. And how many left on display in the world? There are only 4. I think the only complete one is in the USA, which is a bit sad, in Pima County Museum. But the front cockpit, or the front section of the Monarch one is in Manchester. There's one that's a restaurant in Bali and one that's a bar in Ghana, or the other way around maybe. But that's it. Yeah, Manchester has a third of a DC-10, yeah. So that's the, I think apart from the USA complete one, it's one of the largest sections left. A bit sad really, because it's a bit of an iconic aircraft and lots of them. So there was 7 points available there. Right, round 3 answers then. So this is your chance to see to get how close you can get to the total of 50 out of 50. Now, Abby's awarded one of her unofficial bonus points for anyone who worked for Monarch. But Manchester has a third of a Monarch DC-10, so does that count? Right, round 3. So this is the Bell-Boeing Osprey, or MV-22, or various designations. We could have a bonus point for how many rotor blades there are in total, but that would be a bit unfair. This is called Lancaster, this red arrows manoeuvre. Abby knew that, of course. Bill Lear, so the chap who, he actually also, I learned in the news this week, I don't think I knew this, he invented the Canadair Challenger. He designed it. But the Learjet 23, I think, was the first mass-produced business jet. This is the NH-90 helicopter. Clyde Cessna said this, Josh, not you, after your first solo. So, bearing in mind that he went on to produce an aircraft company, I think in one of the quizzes we worked out that Cessna 172 was the most produced aircraft ever. He didn't do too badly in the end. Luckily he didn't give up. Clyde Cessna. Round 3, question 6, John Wayne Orange County Airport. The F-18, question 7. Nice colour scheme. Question 8. Air Chief Marshal Wigston, Mike Wigston. 318 to the nearest 10, so 308 to 328. If you're in that range, you get a point. How many Airbus aircraft do EasyJet have? The Ilyusha's 76. Round 3, question 11, 142 Typhoons are in RAF service currently. Quite a decent number. It's not quite 12 squadrons, is it? No, it's Squadron 10 aircraft, is it? Or is it 12? I always get confused. Round 3, question 12, Pilatus PC-12. It says Pilatus on the front, so there's a bit of a clue there. The Astronomer, or Astronomer, Pisa Airport, Galileo Galilei. Hainan Airlines is the livery. Very nice Chinese livery. Prince Charles was flying a BAE 146-100 when he overran the runway in a Scottish island. Manston has a runway that's, I think, twice or 3 times as wide as a normal runway for recovering crashed, damaged aircraft. Kent International. Question 17, they have 5 different types in service according to their website this week. The Saab, the 340, the Twin Otter, the Islander, the ATRs and the Embraers. I think round 1 was up to 23, wasn't it? Connor? So, oh, thank you. Who corrected that? Mark, thank you. South Sea. Name the airline was PIA, of course. It's a bit difficult to do the editing on that one, so I just decided to chop the front off. No conspiracy intended. Round 3, question 19 is an Islander where the Jersey-based consultant is hoping to I think, allow Arini to fly an electric islander between the islands. And last, round 3, question 20, RAF Fairfield, of course, Riyadh is the largest military air show in the world. Sadly not happening this year. So, that's the total. So that round 3 is out of 20. Round 2 was 7 and round 1 was 23, so a total of 50 marks. So please post your be interested to see who's topping the scoreboards. And Abby was going to tell a joke, but she can't now. You can always tell another joke, Abby. So, who's posting any scores? Found this on the bookshelf today, sticker spot aircraft, so I thought keep myself amused. I think it was actually, yes. So we've got, Brother Peter 22, 35, Anchor 757, 31 out of 50, Brandon, Mark 33, Jed 31, 23. Oh, you see, it was a full sense of security round 1. 22, Travelling Man 29, Andy O'Shea still on track 30. So what we need to find out what type of questions you need. We're always open to feedback, you know, you can always send question or hints into the Twitter feed or anything on here. Thomas, around 20, joined halfway through, so but if you're sad enough to want to, you can go back and see it again. It'll be, as soon as we stop the recording, it goes on to YouTube, so you can watch it again if you like. So good scores coming in, 36. Is that top score so far? Connor and Julian, 36. 33, Lucy. Thank you again for the photos. I'll be back around Twitter to see if we can find any more photos. Anyone has got any ideas for the next week's iconic aircraft? So we said it would probably be military. So Mark, you said Hercules. Any other iconic aircraft requests? And we'll assume until you say stop that you want us to carry on. You want us to carry on these quizzes. So happy to carry on for as long as you want them to carry on. We enjoy doing it. We haven't run out of questions yet, and I've even started posting the answers to make it easy for you. Show us the tube picture, Abby, please. So we can have, this is the extra one, so guess the aircraft on the tube picture. Yeah, so top one, pretty easy. Can't do next week. Oh, you're flying. Yes, what's that? Oh, lightning, yes. So top one, second one, third one, fourth one, if anyone wants to guess the photos that Abby's holding up for as long as she can. Yeah, maybe, I think we'll do that the week after next, Lucy, then. So we'll do a military one next week, and then we'll do, maybe, just so you don't get too Googling on it. Does anyone know those pictures that Abby's holding up about the aircraft? Bottom two? No. Bottom two not correct. Sorry. Top two correct. So anyone who's on standby and can't watch it at 7:30, it is recorded, so it is available within, I think, about 10 or 15 minutes of us stopping the quiz. Yeah, Abby's giving it away now. So bottom one, second to bottom is a VC-10. Oh, no, not quite, Jed. Bottom one is a 111. So Concorde 747, VC-10, 111. So anyway, thank you for playing tonight. Hope you all enjoyed it. And we will be back, all being well, this time next week. Keep well, keep safe, and I hope you enjoy the quiz. Feedback's always welcome. And remember, this is the place where you will get no bad news in the quiz. So So only good news questions generally. So thank you very much, and we will switch off and see you next week. Thank you very much.